I thought I'd do some hints and tips on the brand new UR65, seeing as everybody knows how to bind it up and get it hooked up to Betaflight, and if you don't, well, there's plenty of videos out there. I thought, well, it's a bit late now to make one, there's no point really. I'm running on stock PIDs, everything's basically stock on Betaflight. All I've changed is some settings to do with the battery voltage and the OSD and stuff like that. But here we go. The first things first is the motors. Everybody's complaining about the motors, they're not running properly. Basically, when you start it up, which I'm going to do right now, I'm just going to plug it in. Like so. And I'm going to switch it straight into air mode so you can see what happens. Come on, there you go. They're all working. Just because they don't all start up at the same time doesn't mean they're broken. And the reason why I'm saying that is because they are not broken. These motors do not have bearings. And motors that do not have bearings won't run smoothly. These motors have bushings in them. And the way they're made is you've got a bushing, you've got a brass washer, and you've got a plastic washer in there. Now, some people have found out the way they've put the washer and the brass washer and the plastic washer, they've not put them on properly. They've put them on the wrong way, and other people's are fine. But I don't even think it makes much of a difference what way you put them on, because the bushing is going to dry up. There's still going to be friction there at the end of the day. And what I think is you need a tiny bit of grease or oil in there. And the way it's supposed to be is, if you take the C-clip off at the bottom, you'll see the bushing. Then on top of the bushing, you want to put the plastic washer. On top of the plastic washer, you want to put the brass washer. Put it all back together again. Put a wee bit of loop in there and put it all back together again and put the C-clip on. I haven't done any of that at all. All I've done is put a little bit of silicone oil at the bottom of each motor where the C-clip is, because there's a brass washer there too, and a little bit of silicone oil because it doesn't degrade the plastic. Some oils can be really, really bad for plastic and it will make the plastic brittle. So there you have it. Don't worry if your motors don't start up first time. As long as your quadcopter flies fine, you have no problems whatsoever. Now I'm just going to take these, well, I'm going to leave those screws on for the moment because there's something I want to show you. The battery, I've showed you this before. I put 2 little bits of Velcro on here, but that wasn't good enough. I was still putting my battery in, and even in a crash it was sliding through, and basically it slid through right out, and it ripped out the whole plug here from the battery, and I was fortunate enough that it didn't do anything to the main board. I couldn't do anything with that battery after that. It totally ruined the little the little connectors inside here. What I have done since then is put a little bit of Scottish tape right round there. Now, just a little bit, not that much. So when I put the battery in now, it can't go any further. That's it, stuck there. In a crash, that's going to stay there. And the other reason being why I wanted to do that, well, you have to do it anyway. You don't want your battery popping out all the time. Let me get that screw out. It will also pull on the main wires to your board. And there's no goo on the main power wires to the board. And if they snap off and touch each other, your board is gone. That's it. Toasted. Toasted board. We don't want that. And as we're on the batteries, I don't think these are the best batteries for the quadcopter at all. They don't feel that great. I mean, you can tell by quality if you just pick something up and you feel it and you go, oh, good quality, good battery. I'm going to use the eSheen URUAV battery. Now get that out of the way. Since we've got this open, what I have done was I got a screwdriver and made it a little, I just put the screwdriver in here like so, and now I've popped the main antenna. as you can see here, and I just slide it through and it comes out at the side of the canopy, so my antenna pops up at the side, like so, out of the side of the canopy, like that. Now, as we are under here, the camera itself, a lot of people complained about jello, and that's because the way they put the camera on is absolutely rubbish. They've held it on with one screw and one clip. That's not good enough. When you're in a crash, that's going to pop off, and that's it. It's going to start vibrating about. Even though the two screws, well, there's a screw at each end to tighten it up, it still doesn't work. It will still keep coming loose. And another big problem about it is, if it does come loose, it could fall onto the main board and short something out. It could blow your whole VTX and your main board up, and you don't want that at all. So what I decided to do was get some sugar. I'll say that again. Sugar, not sugar. Right? Some people know what I'm talking about here. And I got a toothpick and I just put a little bit in the inside and at the outer corners, tighten the screws up, max tilt on the camera, and that camera won't budge on a crash now. So that's me quite happy with that. And another thing, other people have found out they've been flying about 10 feet or something and they've lost signal. I do believe that down to your changing the bands in the channel. You'll just need to find the right band and channel. If not, then you've obviously got there is seriously something wrong with your VTX on your camera, I'm afraid to say. So I would take it back and get a refund. And when you are switching channels and bands, the little button for it is at the top. Don't use a screwdriver. Use something plastic. Use something non-metal, because if you slip when that's powered on, you might touch something and short something out yet again. Now, you can also see that the screw where the wires are connected onto the VTX at the back here, but underneath the board, where are you? Underneath the board where the wires are connected, if you can see right there, the green, red and black wires, there's no glue there. Put a bit of glue there just in case, because they will eventually come loose. And also put some glue, like I said, on your main power wires. And as we are here, we've still got more to go. Yes, these little rubber grommet things that are holding your main board on. Make sure your board is in between there, because I noticed my front and back one, they weren't there. They weren't in the middle. Well, they were there at first, but then they weren't. I don't know how that happened. And of course, when you're plugging your micro USB in to plug it into Betaflight, it can push the board out of there, but I don't think that's when that's happened. It can also happen in a crash as well, so always double check and make sure your board is in between those little rubber grommet bits here. Now, is there anything else? Yes, there is a couple of more things. That's the camera. The little canopy off the QX65 fits this perfectly. There you go. And that's how I know, because it does. It sits there nice. You can pimp your little UR65 up and your camera holder will fit it as well. And your spare screws from your QX65, eSIM QX65, all the screws fit it as well. That's perfect. I even think the camera is interchangeable as well. It'd be the exact same camera. And on that note as well, the blades will more than likely fit it. And I am actually waiting. I was going to buy another one of these, but I thought to myself, eSIM bound to bring a brushless 65mm quad out anytime soon. I'm waiting for it. Guarantee, mark my word, within the next week or two, you'll find another. I mean, look at the casings. They look the exact same. All they've got is a different name. They're the exact same. But eSIM is definitely going to bring a brushless 65mm whip out. When are they going to bring it out? I don't know. Well, I'm hoping that they do. I got the standard version on this, and you get your parallel charging board with it. But what I found was it was weird. It wasn't charging up right. It was charging up to, what was it, 4.3.3 volts, and it would stop there. But when I checked it, it was fully charged. It was strange, but just keep an eye on the charger when you're charging it up. The max input, the adapter that you can use is between 7 and 25 volt, and you can also use a 2-cell LiPo with a XT60 plug on it to charge it up, and you'll get a 5-volt USB out port. That's it. I did like the little USB charger that you got that you can buy singular. These are quite handy to have, as a matter of fact. You can pick them up. I'll put that in the link in the description below. Apart from, is that everything? Have I covered all the little mod that you can do to that? Yeah, just don't forget, put some oil. Make sure it's silicone oil, something that doesn't degrade plastic. And if you're going to take the screws off as well and take the motors off, when you're using when you're putting the screws back on and you're using Loctite, don't put the Loctite on the screws, put the Loctite on the inside of the red motor itself, the thread, just a tiny little bit, and I mean a tiny bit. Loctite will also make the plastic brittle and it will break. I think I'm going to buy a new frame soon because I've been bashing this thing about like crazy and it's still in one piece. I hope some of these little tips have been helpful to you. I would definitely do everything that I said. I've not got round to putting glue on the power wires yet or on the VTX wires that are underneath the board, but I'm going to do that because I learned my lesson from another quadcopter and some of the wires came loose and that was it. The quadcopter was gone. But anyway, that's me just rambling on. Don't forget to check the links in the description below for a discount code on this quadcopter, and also you know where you get the quadcopter from. The link will also be down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and as always my friend, I hope you find this video quite interesting. These are just little hints and tips for all of you, and it's all in one place. And happy flying and enjoy it because this thing is amazing and I just love it. So I'll catch you guys later. Bye.